Hello everybody and welcome to our lesson. Let's go ahead and take a look at our focus for today, which is to master the ability to add and subtract mixed numbers and to solve problems involving mixed numbers. The question that you should be able to answer by the end of this lesson is how do you explain the process of adding and subtracting mixed numbers that have different denominators? Let's go ahead and first review how we convert mixed numbers into improper fractions because it's going to be a huge part of what we do here. Now, parts of a mixed number, here we have our whole number, we have our numerator, and we have our denominator. And we're going to need to be able to convert that mixed number into an improper fraction. So what we do is we take our our denominator, and we multiply that by our whole number. So first step, multiply the denominator by the whole number. So 4 times 2 equals 8. Our second step is to then add the product, which is 8, and the numerator to create the new numerator. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Create an improper fraction by placing the new numerator over the original denominator. So 2 1/4 in this example, written as an improper fraction, is 9/4. Now we're going to switch gears to reviewing how to write an improper fraction into a mixed number. The first step is to divide the numerator by the denominator. So we're dividing 17 by 4. 4 is going to be our whole number. The quotient is the whole number. The remainder is the numerator, and the denominator, 4, stays the same. And then we simplify if we need to. So in this case, we're figuring out how many times does 4 go into 17 without going over. 4 goes into 17 4 times. 4 is our whole number, which is right here. 4 times 4 is 16, and then we find the difference, which is the remainder, and then that is our numerator. And our denominator stays the same, which is 4. So 17 over 4, written as a mixed number, is 4 1/4. So now we're going to take a look at an example of adding and subtracting mixed numbers with common denominators. Here we're asked to add the mixed numbers 2 3/4 plus 4 3/4 to equal 6 6/4. So let's figure out how we figure that out. First, we add the fractions and then we add the whole numbers. So as fractions, 3/4 plus 3/4 is equal to 6 over 4. Written as an improper fraction, and we need to change that to a mixed number. So 6 over 4 written as a mixed number is 4 and 2 over 4. So then we add our whole number, which is 2 plus 4 equals 6. Then we add 6 plus 1 2/4, and 1 2/4 can be simplified to 1 1/2. So then we add our whole numbers to equal 7 1/2. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example. So we have 1 2/3 plus 2 2/3. So first we're going to add our fractions. So 2/3 plus 2/3 is equal to 4 over 3. Now we need to change that into a mixed number. How many times does 3 go into 4 without going over? Well, that's 1. So that's going to be my whole number. 1 times 3 is 3. We find the difference, which is 1. Our remainder is our numerator, and our denominator stays the same, 3. So now that we have a mixed number from our fractions, we have 1 1/3, and then we add our whole numbers. So we have 1 plus 2 equals 3. So then we add that to our mixed number to equal 4 1/3. I'm going to go ahead and circle that. And that does not need to be simplified any further because 1 and 3, my numerator and denominator, only have one factor in common, and that's the number 1. So in this problem, we're going to be adding 1 2/5 plus 3 2/5. we are going to add our fractions. So 2/5 plus 2/5 is equal to 4/5. And then we add our whole numbers, 1 plus 3 to equal 4. So I'm just going to combine those two to be 4 and 4/5. And that can't be simplified any further because 4 and 5 have one factor in common, and that is the value 1. Now we're going to take a look at adding and subtracting mixed numbers with different denominators. The example that we're given here is 4 and 1/4 plus 3 and 2/3. In order to add or subtract any fraction, we need to have a common denominator. So we need to find the least common multiple of the denominator, or the LCD. In this case, it is 12. So we're going to write an equivalent fraction for each of these mixed numbers. So having a least common denominator of 12, we're multiplying both our numerator and denominator by 3. So that 4 times 3 equals 12 and 1 times 3 equals 3. So we're left with a new mixed number of 4 and 3 over 12. Then we're writing an equivalent fraction of 3 and 2/3 with a common denominator of 12. So we're multiplying both our numerator and denominator by 4. So from there, we can solve that our denominators 3 times 4 equals 12 and 2 times 4 equals 8. And then we just carry over our mixed number. Then from there, we add our fractions. So we have 3/12 plus 8/12. 8 plus 3 equals 11. And we just carry over our common denominator, which is 12, and then add our whole numbers. 4 plus 3 equals 7. And that fraction can't be simplified any further because 11 and 12 only have a common factor of 1. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example. In this example, the first thing that we have to do is find the least common denominator of 6 and 8. In this case, our least common denominator is going to be 24. So the first thing we're going to have to do is write equivalent fractions for 1/6 and 7/8 to have a common denominator of 24. So we have 1/6, and to have a common denominator of 24, we need to multiply both our numerator and denominator by 4. Because 6 times 4 equals 24, and then we're left to multiply our numerators. 1 times 4 equals 4. So then I'm going to tack on our whole number of 3. So I'm going to rewrite that to be 3 and 4 over 24. So I'm going to let that be, and now I'm going to write an equivalent fraction of 8 and 7/8 so that it has a common denominator of 24 as well. So we have 7/8. We need to multiply that by a fraction so that our denominator is 24. 8 times 3 equals 24. And what we do to our denominator, we also do to our numerator. 7 times 3 is 21. And I'm going to tack on our whole number, which is 8. So then we look at our operation and we're adding these mixed numbers. So we have 3 and 4/24 plus 8 and 21 over 24. To equal, so we're going to keep our denominator the same, which is 24, and our numerator, we have 4 plus 21, which equals 25. Now that is an improper fraction, so we need to change that into a mixed number. How many times does 24 go into 25? Once. That's my whole number. 1 times 24 equals 24 with a remainder of 1. So 1 and 1 over 24. I'm going to add that plus my whole number. So I have 3 plus 8 plus 1 and 1 over 24. 3 plus 8 equals 11 plus 1 equals 12. And we're going to add on our proper fraction of 1 over 24. And there you go. So in this lesson, we reviewed how to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions and vice versa, adding and subtracting mixed numbers with or without common denominators. But I want to ask you guys, how do you explain the process of adding and subtracting mixed numbers if they have different denominators? If you're not sure how to answer that and you're struggling a little bit with this lesson, please go back to any part that you might need clarification on. You can rewind. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to let us know. And don't forget to complete the answers below.